You're standing on the deck of a small boat in January 1790, staring at a 2-mile-wide island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Behind you is the world. Ahead of you is the place 9 wanted men have chosen to disappear forever. The cliffs rise straight from the water, black volcanic rock, 300 feet high, with no harbour, no beach, no easy landing. The ocean is empty in every direction. The nearest land is over 1,000 miles away. This is not a destination. This is a hiding place, and the men approaching it have just burned the only bridge back to civilization. The HMS Bounty sits offshore, rocking in the swell. It's a small merchant vessel converted for naval service, 215 tons, weathered from months at sea. The ship brought them here from Tahiti, 3,000 miles to the northwest. The voyage was difficult. The Pacific is vast beyond comprehension. Navigation was by dead reckoning and the occasional island sighting. They were looking for a place no one would ever find. They found Pitcairn, an island so remote it barely appears on charts, an island last visited by Europeans in 1767 by Captain Carteret, who noted its location incorrectly. The error means this island is effectively invisible. The British Navy, which is searching for them, will look in the wrong place. The mutineers will be safe here, or so they believe. The mutiny happened 9 months ago, on April 28th, 1789, off Tafua in the Friendly Islands. Fletcher Christian, the master's mate, led the uprising against Captain William Bligh. The reasons are tangled. Bligh was a harsh commander, prone to rage, to humiliation, to withholding rations as punishment. But other captains were worse. The real reason, whispered among the crew, was Tahiti. They had spent 5 months in Tahiti collecting breadfruit plants for transport to the Caribbean. 5 months in paradise. The men had taken Tahitian wives. They had lived freely. They had tasted a life without naval discipline. And when Bligh ordered them back to sea, back to hardship and subordination, something broke. Christian led the mutiny. 18 men joined him. The rest, including Bligh, were set adrift in the ship's launch with minimal supplies. Bligh, against all odds, would navigate that open boat 3,600 miles to Timor and survive to tell the story. But the mutineers didn't know that when they sailed away. They only knew they were wanted men. Desertion was death. Mutiny was death. Bligh. Their only option was to hide where the Royal Navy would never find them. They returned to Tahiti first. Some mutineers stayed there, believing they could blend in. 16 men remained. Christian knew better. The Navy would search Tahiti. He convinced 8 men to follow him. They took 6 Tahitian men, some willingly, some by coercion, and 12 Tahitian women. They took livestock, goats, pigs, chickens. They took tools, seeds, supplies, and they sailed east into the empty Pacific, searching for an island remote enough to keep them safe forever. They found Pitcairn in January 1790, and on January 23rd, they landed. The landing is treacherous. The boat approaches a narrow gap in the cliffs where a small beach of volcanic stones offers the only possible access. The surf is heavy. Waves crash and retreat, pulling stones with a grinding roar. Timing is everything. The boat surges forward on a wave. The men row hard and the hull scrapes onto the stones. They leap out, haul the boat up before the next wave hits. The island looms above them, cliffs rising like prison walls, jungle covering everything. The air is humid, thick with the smell of vegetation and salt. Birds screech from the trees. The sound is alien. This place has been uninhabited for centuries. The Polynesians came here once, long ago. Archaeological evidence found later will show they lived here for perhaps 400 years before abandoning the island around 1400 AD. No one knows why they left. The island is fertile. Fresh water is abundant. But something drove them away. Now, new settlers arrive, and they carry their own reasons for leaving civilization behind. The first task is to unload the Bounty. For weeks they ferry supplies ashore. Barrels of salt pork, sacks of flour, tools, weapons, muskets, powder, shot, rope, canvas. Everything they might need to survive indefinitely. The work is exhausting. The surf never calms. Every trip to shore risks capsizing. But gradually the supplies accumulate on the beach. They establish a path up the cliff, a narrow trail hacked through the jungle. It's steep, slippery, dangerous. Men carry loads on their backs, climbing hand over hand in places. The women and children make the climb. The livestock is hauled up in slings. A goat breaks its leg in the process and has to be slaughtered. Nothing is wasted. The island will be their world now. Everything from the ship is precious. Everything else is ocean. And then they burn the Bounty. Christian makes the decision. The ship is evidence. If another vessel ever approaches, the Bounty would be visible from miles away. But more than that, burning the ship is finality. It removes the possibility of escape. It commits them absolutely to this island. On a morning in late January, they set fire to the ship. The flames spread quickly through the tarred rigging, the dry wood. The masts become torches. The hull burns to the waterline and then sinks in the shallow bay where it still rests today. 30 feet down, a tangle of timbers and cannons and ballast stones. The men watch it burn from the shore. Some are relieved. The evidence is gone. Others are horrified. They've just destroyed their only connection to the outside world. There is no going back now. The island has them for the rest of their lives. The settlement begins on a plateau above the cliffs, in an area they call Adamstown, though that name won't be formalised for years. The land here is relatively flat, maybe 2 acres, covered in dense jungle that has to be cleared. They work with axes and machetes, cutting down trees, burning the brush, preparing ground for planting. The soil is rich, volcanic. It will grow almost anything. They plant yams, taro, sweet potatoes brought from Tahiti. They plant seeds from the ship's stores, corn, pumpkins, melons. The climate is subtropical, warm year-round. Rain is frequent. The crops grow quickly. Within months they have gardens producing food. They supplement with fish from the ocean, though fishing here is difficult. The waters are deep close to shore. There is no reef to trap fish. They use lines and hooks and catch what they can. The island provides. Barely, but it provides, and it watches. The houses are simple, built from wood cut from the jungle, roofs thatched with palm fronds. Floors are dirt. There is no furniture to speak of. They sleep on mats. They cook over open fires. The structures are functional, nothing more. Each man claims a plot of land. The division is unequal from the start. Christian, as leader, takes the best land. The other sailors take what they can. The Tahitian men are given less. They're treated as subordinates, almost as servants. The Tahitian women are distributed among the British sailors. Some of these relationships are consensual, others are not. The women have no choice. They were brought here, some willingly as partners of the sailors, others essentially as captives. The power structure is clear. The British sailors hold the guns. They make the rules. The Tahitians, men and women, are expected to comply. And the island, 2 miles wide and surrounded by 1,000 miles of ocean, enforces the arrangement. There is nowhere to run. The tension is immediate. The Tahitian men resent their subordinate position. They were told they would be equals. They were told this would be a new beginning. Instead, they find themselves treated as labourers, denied land, denied autonomy. The Tahitian women are caught between worlds. Some form genuine bonds with the sailors. Others are mistreated, passed between men, denied agency. The cultural divide is profound. The British sailors come from a hierarchical naval system where obedience is absolute. The Tahitians come from a society with different structures, different values. These two worlds collide on a 2-square-mile island with no escape. The cliffs see everything, the ocean hears everything, and the island holds everyone. Months pass. The settlement stabilizes in some ways and fractures in others. Crops are growing. Livestock is breeding. Children are born. The first child born on Pitcairn after settlement is Thursday, October Christian, Fletcher Christian's son with his Tahitian partner, Mauatua. The birth is celebrated. It represents the future, but the present is darkening. Jealousy festers. Some men have partners, others don't. Some Tahitian men have no women at all because the sailors took them. The lack of balance creates resentment. Arguments become common, accusations, disputes over land, over work, over women. The sailors drink. They brought spirits from the Bounty. And they also distill alcohol from local plants. Drunkenness leads to violence, fistfights, beatings. The Tahitian men start talking among themselves, quietly, in their own language, planning. The island is small. Everyone hears everything. Everyone knows what's coming. The first murder happens in 1793. The Tahitian men, tired of subordination, decide to act. They kill 5 of the British sailors in a coordinated attack. Fletcher Christian is shot while working in his garden. He dies quickly. 4 others are killed the same day. The violence is sudden and total. The remaining British sailors, 4 of them, barricade themselves with the women and children. They have the muskets. They wait. The Tahitian men, having achieved their revenge, retreat to their own part of the island. But the balance of power has shifted chaotically. Too much blood, too much fear. The fragile order is shattered. The island, which was supposed to be refuge, has become a killing ground. The Tahitian men don't last long. Within months they turn on each other. Old rivalries resurface. Disputes over the women who sided with the British. One kills another. Then the Tahitian women, some of whom resent the violence, some of whom fear for their children, align with the remaining British sailors. The Tahitian men are hunted down. One by one, they're killed or die in accidents that might not be accidents. By 1794, all 6 Tahitian men are dead. The 4 remaining British sailors, John Adams, Ned Young, Matthew Quintal, and William McCoy, are the only adult men left on the island. And the killing isn't over. The island remembers. The island keeps count. McCoy discovers how to distill alcohol from the ti plant, a local root. The process is crude but effective. The liquor is strong, harsh, mind-altering. McCoy drinks heavily. So does Quintal. The 2 men become erratic, violent. Young, already sick with asthma, grows weaker. Adams tries to maintain order, but he's one man among chaos. In 1797, McCoy, in a drunken fit, ties rocks to himself and jumps off a cliff into the ocean. Suicide. His body's never recovered. The ocean takes him. In 1799, Quintal, drunk and enraged, threatens the women and children with an axe. Adams and Young, fearing for their lives and the lives of the community, kill Quintal in self-defense. They have no choice. 2 men left. Young dies in 1800 from his asthma. He's been suffering for years. His death is slow, painful. Adams buries him on the island that has buried them all and becomes the sole surviving mutineer, alone among the women and children, the only adult male on Pitcairn Island, the last living connection to the Bounty, the last man who remembers the world beyond. John Adams is not the same man who arrived on the Bounty. He was a sailor, illiterate, rough, prone to drink. But the violence has changed him. The deaths of his companions, the responsibility for the women and children, the weight of survival on an island that has consumed everyone else. He turns to the Bible, one of the few books salvaged from the Bounty. He teaches himself to read using it. He begins holding services, preaching, teaching the children. He establishes order based on Christian morality, strict and patriarchal but functional. The violence stops. The community stabilizes. The children grow up in isolation, speaking English taught by Adams, mixed with Tahitian words from their mothers. They know nothing of the outside world. They've never seen a ship. They have no concept of England, of Tahiti, of anywhere beyond their island. Pitcairn is their entire universe, and the island shapes them in ways they'll never understand. The island is small enough to walk across in a few hours, but the terrain is difficult. Steep ridges, deep valleys, dense jungle. Fresh water flows from springs in the hills. The soil is productive. They grow bananas, coconuts, breadfruit, taro, sweet potatoes. They fish. They keep goats and chickens. They build better houses from wood and stone. The settlement becomes permanent, functional. The children are taught to read and write. Now, Adams uses the Bible as their textbook. They learn Psalms, Gospels, Commandments. They learn navigation from Adams' memories, though they have no ship. They learn the stories of the mutiny, sanitized, reframed as escape from tyranny. The past is mythologized. Bligh becomes a villain. Christian becomes a hero seeking freedom. The murders are downplayed or forgotten. History rewrites itself in isolation. The island allows it. The island keeps the secrets. Years pass, a decade, then another. The children become adults. They have children of their own. The population grows slowly. By 1808, there are perhaps 35 people on the island, all descended from the original settlers. Adams is aging. He's in his 40s but looks older. The hard life has worn him. He's the elder now, the patriarch, the keeper of the past. He knows that eventually. The outside world will find them. A ship will come. and when it does, he will face justice for mutiny. He makes peace with this. He's prepared to accept punishment if it means the children are cared for, but the ships don't come. Year after year, the ocean remains empty. The horizon is unbroken. The island holds them in silence. Then, in 1808, an American sealing vessel, the Topaz, approaches the island by chance. The captain, Mayhew Folger, is exploring uncharted waters. He sees smoke rising from the cliffs. He approaches cautiously. A canoe puts out from shore, paddled by young men who speak broken English. They tell an impossible story. They are descendants of the Bounty mutineers. Folger is stunned. The mutiny was 19 years ago. The Bounty has been searched for across the Pacific. Most people assume the mutineers are dead. And here they are, alive, thriving in isolation. Folger goes ashore. He meets Adams, who confesses everything. The mutiny, the murders, the years of hiding. Folger takes notes. He takes some relics from the Bounty that Adams has kept, and then he leaves. He reports the discovery when he reaches the nearest port. But the information takes years to reach England, and when it does, the British government decides to let it rest. The mutiny is old news. Adams is the only survivor. He's old, harmless, not worth the effort to prosecute. The island can keep him. More ships come over the following decades. British naval vessels, whalers, missionaries. Each time the story is told again. The descendants of the mutineers, the last survivors of the Bounty. The story becomes legend. Adams dies in 1829 at age 62. By then, he's a respected elder. The British government has pardoned him. He's buried on the island, the last direct link to the mutiny. The community continues. They trade with passing ships, supplies, news. Occasionally people leave, others arrive, but the core remains. A tiny population on a tiny island, descended from violence shaped by isolation, held by the ocean. The island itself is a prison and a paradise. It's beautiful, lush, fertile, but it's also confining. You can walk to the edge in any direction and see only ocean. The psychological weight of that is immense. You're safe, but you're trapped. You're free from the outside world, but you can never leave. The younger generations don't always understand this. Some want to explore. They've heard stories of Tahiti, of England, of cities and ships and the vast world beyond. But for most, the island is enough. It's all they know. It's home. And it won't let them forget what brought them here. Walk through the settlement now, decades after the mutiny. The houses are more substantial. Stone foundations, wooden walls, metal roofs salvaged from shipwrecks or traded from passing vessels. Gardens are established. Paths connect the scattered homes. Children play in the dirt. Women tend to cooking fires. Men work in the gardens or repair fishing equipment. The rhythm of life is slow, dictated by weather and seasons and the availability of passing ships. There is no industry, no commerce beyond trade, no government beyond communal decisions. Life is simple, sustainable, isolated. The island provides what they need and takes what it wants. The legacy of the Bounty is written in the soil. The mutiny was an act of rebellion against harsh authority, but it led to years of violence and death. The settlement of Pitcairn was survival, but it was also built on the subjugation of the Tahitian men and women. The community that emerged was stable, but it was patriarchal, isolated, and insular. The descendants are victims of their ancestors' choices and beneficiaries of their determination. They live on an island that protected them from the world but cut them off from it entirely. The graves of the murdered men are unmarked. The violence of those early years is buried under gardens and houses and the passage of time. But the island remembers, the cliffs remember, the ocean remembers. Stand at the edge of the cliff at sunset. The ocean stretches to the horizon, unbroken. The sun drops into the water, turning the sky orange and red. The waves crash below, constant and indifferent. This place is beautiful and lonely. It's refuge and prison. It's the end of one story and the beginning of another. The mutineers came here to escape. They found isolation. They found violence. They found a kind of peace, eventually, built on the ashes of conflict. And their descendants inherit that legacy. The isolation, the independence, the weight of a past they didn't choose, the island that won't release them. For now, the ships rarely come. The ocean surrounds the island in every direction, empty and endless. The Bounty is gone, rotting beneath the water. The mutineers are dead. And on this isolated rock in the Pacific, their descendants live in the shadow of a crime that carried them here. A crime that turned paradise into a prison. A mutiny that never really ended. Because once you burn the ship, there is nowhere left to go. The island has you, the ocean holds you, and the world forgets you exist. This is Pitcairn. This is what happens when men try to disappear. They find an island, and the island finds them back.